in position in which the quad is stretched. I'm going to bounce around here a little bit and then come up. So I'm bouncing around 3 times before I come up. Jiu-Jitsu over the past 2 days, so I say two because yesterday I had classes and rolled for quite some time, and then the day before that I came to the gym but also ended up rolling with my friend for 35 minutes. So having 2 straight jiu-jitsu days along with the workout on Monday has me feeling pretty exhausted, and I want to get movement in without going too easy on myself, uh, but also like not pushing myself to the point where tomorrow's jiu-jitsu class sucks. And so there used to be things that I used to do a lot more often uh, when I used to come to the gym. Stuff with the medicine ball, some like explosive or like athletic style movement. And at least right now, that's what I think I'm going to do for a bit, and then end off with some mobility and abs. So, by athletic movements, I pretty much mean things that involve the whole body, but I pretty much do that anyway. But I guess more fluid movement, if that makes sense. Like, for example, I do the sled, and the sled could be considered something athletic, but uh, I guess the sled is a bad. Let's just say light athletic movements is what I'm going for. Uh, Whether that classification is justified or not, I don't know. At least that's what I'm thinking about. Thinking, thinking of the exercise. English. I can't phrase a sentence. Uh, at least that's how I'm thinking of it at the moment. So, starting off with side to side medicine ball slams while moving forward. And so, usually, while doing medicine ball slams, you tend to stay in one position. I think adding a movement component to it adds a little bit of, I guess, variation that helps you learn how to move your body more efficiently, if that makes sense. So, I'm going to slam and take steps as I do it. On each step, I'm trying to keep the opposite leg off the floor. So, this is where the concept of balanced movement kind of comes into play. So, what I'm training here is a concept called head over foot. So, apparently, the ideal position to maintain balance while like walking or running is to have the head over the foot. So as I'm bouncing the ball, I'm making sure to kind of have my head oscillate as I'm moving and slamming the ball. And for me to be able to keep my opposite leg up without tipping over, I have to position my head over foot, maintaining that movement balance, if that makes sense. Then, with the 30-pound kettlebell, going to do step snatches. I've been doing this fairly frequently in my recent videos, I think. I find it I find this movement to be a smooth, explosive movement that kind of trains the concept of exploding while bringing the hip flexor up. Which I think is similar to stuff like, when you're running. So, yeah, I think doing this would help improve uh, running ability. Going for 8. So yeah, doing this for now. We're doing 5 sets of it. The weights aren't necessarily too heavy. Like the movements, like I said, they're enough to get my heart rate going using the whole body, and they're not like super easy movements. But I'm using lighter loads so that I don't overly tax my body. Just getting good, solid movement in instead of, uh, kind of taking a rest and being sedentary at home. But yeah, 5 sets of this. I'll do the next thing. For the next set of movements, going to do a tactical clean to deficit curtsy lunge. So, going to start off with a tactical clean, and then whatever side the weight's on, that the opposite leg is what stays on the, I guess, elevation or the step. Then going all the way down, really stretching out the outer glutes. Coming back up, tactical clean, and switch. Going to do this 5 times on each side. Helping with the mobility of the hips to press from a deep position. Oh. Also, with that deep descent that I have to do, at the bottom, I'm in a pretty unstable position, and there's a lot of balance at work to make the movement possible. Then, using one of these sticks that they use for mobility, I'm going to do a single leg clean while this leg kind of goes like a hip flexor. So I'm not going to touch this leg on the floor. Essentially, what I'm trying to mimic is when you're running, you tend to do this. So opposite hand, opposite knee comes up, and trying to mimic that explosive motion when that happens while running. So looks like this. Going for 8. Switch. I'm going to face sideways so that you can see what's happening with the back leg. So yeah, Uh, it's a movement that gets the abs working quite a bit, and like I said, teaches you to kind of coordinate the generation of force from the opposite hand and the opposite leg. At least that's the way I'm thinking about it. It should pay dividends, I hope. But yeah, doing this for 4 to 5 sets. On to the next thing. I think I'm probably going to name this episode Athletic Mobility or something like that. Um, so yeah, for the next exercise, focusing less on overall movement, but more on, I guess, mobility, specifically targeting quad mobility. So I have a resistance band attached over here, and I'm going to, I guess, get the band in Zerker grip. And then I'm going to keep my glutes contracted and let my body kind of suspend itself backwards, getting into a deep knee bend position in which the quad is stretched. I'm going to bounce around here a little bit and then come up. So I'm bouncing around 3 times before I come up. So first I get a deep stretch, then a couple bounces, and then come up. I'm going to do this 5 times. It also stretches out the tibialis, so the back of my feet are in contact with the floor, and as I sit or lean back, they get stretched, essentially stretching the ankles. After 5 of that, I'm going to do curtsy step ups. So I'm holding 2 15-pound kettlebells. I'm going to step one leg back and I guess around, back and behind, one of them. The other leg and come up and switch legs. Again, targeting the outer glute for the most part. Going for 8 each side. Holding 2 15-pound kettlebells. So yeah, doing these 2 movements for 4 sets. The curtsy step ups really helps with, I guess, the hip rotation, I would say. Just targeting the muscles in the outer glutes, getting them to, uh, get acclimated with just coming across like that. In any case, yeah, on to the next thing. Ending off with some hip mobility. So I have two napkins on the floor on the smooth surface. This will allow my legs to slide. And what this will allow me to do is get into an ATG split squat position by sliding my feet and not necessarily having to push off my quads. And it also allows me to slide and perform a groin mobility thing in between, or as the second part of this. So I don't know what the best angle for this is. First I'm going to do it front facing, then side facing. So I'm going to kick one leg back such that I get into a deep split squat position. I'm going to follow all the usual cues of looking up to stretch the hip flexor. I'm going to come up. Then I'm going to kick that same leg out and get into a deep, I guess, Cossack squat. And then slide that leg back. Then repeat the same on the other leg. And trying to keep the leg that's moving straight. So now I'll do it side facing. Then kick out. So yeah, doing that 5 times on each side, really opening up the hips and stretching out the hip flexors. And the hip flexor is a muscle that's tight on most people, just because of the fact that most people sit or are sedentary because of work and driving and all those things. And usually, just by loosening up the hip flexor, you're able to get a lot of mobility gains. I'm going to do it facing this way now. There's also this sort of rush that you get when you loosen up tight muscles. Like a calming sort of feeling. So yeah, doing this for 4 sets and then going to head to the sauna. Probably not going to record an outro or anything today. So yeah, some athletic mobility, I guess. Not I guess, but it will definitely help with athleticism and just freedom of movement, all the exercises that I did today. But yeah, I'm going to head to the sauna. Tomorrow's jiu-jitsu day, so no video. See you all in the next one.